Back in the house. I don't know. I guess maybe I had this music paused here, which I shouldn't have done.
Are we live right now?
We are live right now.
Oh, okay.
Told you that was a cold open, man. We're gonna come right in. Nobody's gonna know
Yeah.
anything.
Back at it. Well, week 2, hump day, baby. Square groupers. Time to tap in.
Time to light up. We're gonna let a couple people pile in here, man. Hump day, hump day. Well, how's your Wednesday doing?
Oh man, it's good. Just got that new medical cannabis card renewed. You know, it's annually renewed every year, and that's a big part of why we're getting together to talk about no taxation without representation.
It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. It's crazy because when you brought up medical as a topic, I remember saying to myself, I was such a staunch promoter of that, but medical has dropped pretty much off of my radar. The only reason I have my medical card is because I receive a big discount from my dispensary, but my dispensary doesn't do medical cannabis anymore. And a lot of dispensaries in Denver are going that way because of the pain in the ass for inventory and things like that.
Well, if any veterans are going to be tapping in today, which I hope are BDG veterans, it's time to tap in. If you got a medical cannabis card in a medical cannabis state, don't lose out on your benefits. You can actually grow. And that's why I hang out here with Bob, because he's a cultivator, baby. So take advantage of that. We're going to talk more about no tax and how to grow today.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, we got a couple people in here. Let's get the game started. Let's roll. Square Groupers, episode 2. Ding, ding. The dispensary is open for business, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Square Groupers 2024. Bob, the Cannabis Cowboy, and my man BG over there. You know him well, because he infiltrates your Facebook feed every day. We're back at it again.
We are a couple of Cowboy fans, but we will not be talking about the Cowboys today. Today, we're going to talk about the green stuff, the stanky danky. Where are all them cannabis enthusiasts at? I need all my veterans. If you served in any of the branches like Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, even Coast Guard, we'll talk to you, little brother. Y'all need to tap in today, baby. It is beneficial for you to tap in today on Square Groupers.
Very beneficial. You puffing on anything right now, BG?
No, I got this new strain, though. I'm going to probably roll some up while we're here. I got this glazed apricot gelato by Parasol. My first time with some glazed apricot gelato. It's pretty good.
Yeah, now you got me. So, and I've had some apricot gelato before.
Okay.
But now I'm going to look this up because I want to know where the glazed is coming from.
Right.
Because that's starting to maybe, I don't know. There's the first thing that popped up too. They know it. I love it. Cannabis is doing work. All right. BG has got glazed apricot gelato, which is a genetic cross of gelato and orange apricot. Damn. That looks good, man. Good for you. Enjoy that.
Yeah, baby. It's the green stuff, baby. It's the green stuff with your guy Bob and BG, baby. Every hump day, you got to tap in with us at 6 p.m. from Colorado, streaming live and in Washington State. Square Groupers is back at it. So if you're a cannabis enthusiast, y'all know how I tell y'all every day, you got to drink a little something or smoke a little something to be a Cowboys fan. But if you're a Cowboys fan and you smoke a little something, well, tap in with us today, especially if you're a veteran, because Washington State now, baby, 0 state tax, legal taxes coming off.
We got to freeze. Ladies and gentlemen, BG is going off of a Wi-Fi signal right now that just might not be very strong. So, Sarah's in the house. What is up? Everybody that came in, Richard, Russell, Nicole, everybody's coming and hanging out. How y'all doing today? All right, BG, you're back.
Yeah, I'm hanging in there, man. I know y'all seen my little Pentium 2. Y'all got to apologize here on the Wi-Fi setup. It's a little ratchet.
He's got the hamster wheel rolling right now, but we're going to make it through. It doesn't matter.
That's right. What up, Nicole? I see you, Miss Fanatics in the building. My green badge is falling in. Shout out to all of the BDG green badges. If you're a green badge content supporter of this page, every Wednesday we niche it down into the cannabis industry. So a couple Cowboy fans talking about cannabis today. Actually, to all NFL fans, we welcome all fans of all 32 NFL fan bases. But I'm talking to my veterans specifically here today, baby, because you know, veterans, we like shit on the cheap or free for that matter.
Let me tell you something. Taking away the tax on medical cannabis is ridiculous. That is a massive thing. That is a massive thing. Like I said before, my dispensary basically went away with it, but they still honor it by saying, "All right, we're gonna basically let you buy recreational cannabis at medical prices still because we love you guys." But what for whatever reason we're going in one direction and not keeping it anymore. But it's still one of those things that's important because there's still so many states right now that are medically legal but are not recreational legal, and that's when you've got veterans having to deal with not getting their hands on mainstream legal cannabis. It's forcing them to go into areas where they have to buy at black market, and that's not
like in
the whole
Texas,
reason.
if you drive north of the border on I-35 up to Oklahoma State, where there's a dispensary right there next to the Jerry Jones Casino, you know, the World Star Casino or WinStar Casino, rather. I'm sorry, but yeah, like that, I know exactly where you.
Yeah, it's tough.
If you could go ahead and bring up that Forbes article that I shared with you, Bob, it says, with one of the highest tax rates imposed on medical marijuana products, the Washington Senate recently, that's Washington State, not Washington, D.C., Dallas Cowboys, not Washington, D.C., but Washington State recently passed a bill granting an exemption from the 37% excise tax for medical marijuana patients and designated providers. I'm telling you, we are getting there. I told Bob in the back of the studio here before we got into the live, my MLK or my I have a dream is for veterans to be able to go to the VA one day and get a medical prescription for your cannabis at zero cost. Wouldn't that be a perfect world?
That would be just like walking into any other pharmacy and getting it. And again, we've got some things we've got to jump over before that happens. But yes, that's the end game.
Yep.
I've got the Medium, I've got the LinkedIn, and I've got the actual cannabis. I've only got 3 of these pulled up.
Yeah, no, it's the Washington State. It's the Forbes article. If you could put that up there, just so everybody can take a look at it. If not, I can place the link in the comments.
Go ahead, do that, yep. And I'll pull it up anyway. But that's a big thing. That's such a big part of all this. I mean, look, we're talking about, if we're talking pricing alone. I mean, the fact that it's already cheaper. To get medical cannabis is a pretty big thing. And you're saying that your tax was 35% out there? Is that what it was?
37%. And I'm placing the link there in the comments now.
So if you had $135 ounce before taxes and you add that, you're going to be paying $185 out the door, which is pretty effing significant. That's a big thing. And most of the time, the taxes were supposed to be so low to begin with in medical cannabis. I'm actually pretty surprised it was as high as it was when you just said 37. I just assumed that it was somewhere a little bit lower, but I mean, taxes are taxes.
Yeah, I mean, what I was paying probably during the pandemic of 2020 for an ounce of artisan, roughly between, $100, $150 is now ballooned over to $250 for some top shelf strains. So reducing that excise stat, especially for veterans, because some, all of us veterans that are out there are on fixed incomes, especially if you're retired or if you've got your VA benefits. This is not something you'll lose your VA benefits behind, especially if you're in a legal state. So I would encourage you, the next time you go to your VA, you talk with your doctors there and start giving them that information, because a lot of veterans are dying, quite frankly, from opioid overdose. And the last time I checked, nobody is dying from cannabis overdose. I mean, they may have a pot plant blow up like we talked about last week, but nobody is technically dying from inhaling too much medical cannabis. Thank you, Bob, for getting that article up there. As you see, by Forbes, a trusted site. This was just published yesterday. Washington State to eliminate 37% tax on medical marijuana. So if you're in Washington State, take a look at it. I already placed the link in the comments for you. This is good news. Now, it's still not final. They've just passed it, but we've got to work, like my guy Bob said, we got to work through this. We got to get over some things. before, but this is some good news because Washington and Colorado were actually the first two states to legally to authorize medical cannabis in terms of, I think, 2012, if I'm not mistaken, or 2008. I can't remember, but
we were 08, I think was one.
08, yeah, the big green rush between Colorado. So, I'm proud to say from a Washington State resident that the legislators up here are being very proactive. I mean, we are in an election season this year, so you will hear cannabis being touted in terms of full legalization, talked about a lot, as it was just 3.5 years ago. Remember, Bob, when we were going into the current administration, they were talking about legalizing it, removing it from a Schedule III drug. You remember, as our vice president currently in office now started that bill to legalize cannabis, but they have not done anything with it yet. But we'll start to hear that. But removing some tax is always a good thing, baby, because less is more. If you know.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's a that's a whole bunch of red tape, but you landed exactly where I was gonna land anyway. Look, if you tell me tomorrow that napkins and paper towels will no longer have tax, that's a good thing. It does not matter as long we are taxed on everything, and to be able to have this cannabis, they need things like this need to start being stripped because we start off with this base medical model that once things start getting bigger, we should be pulling things down. We should be retooling things. We should be telling people, like in Colorado, for instance, where I live, the cultivation, home cultivation for a medical patient has not gone up since the inception of medical cannabis out here, which was a long time ago. These things need to keep being retooled. So the fact that Washington State is saying to themselves, look, we're going to drop the 37%, that's going to make other states be like, okay, maybe we can do that too after we've made a significant amount of money, because you don't do that right away. That's not the smart thing to do. But getting a bunch of people on board and dropping the tax so that more people get on board is an intelligent way to get the stimulus of medical cannabis to be, pushed through. And that's pretty badass. And everywhere weed should be pretty cheap right now because it's all over the place. We should be getting to the point now we're not paying a lot of money. I think I walk out of my dispensary sometimes with $80 for an ounce, which is amazing. But still not maybe so affordable for a lot of veterans that are just kind of getting out and getting back to the way the normal ways of life. Oh, we got the full drop by BG. That's horrible. We're going to bring him back here in a second. But yeah, tell me about it. 37%. So like I just said, you've got $130 whatever ounce, and then you walk out for 180. That's a lot of money. If they're taking 37% off of anything right now, I'm real happy with that. Like I said, diapers. Can you imagine if they said no more tax on diapers? Yikes. Yes. Sarah, I'm glad that you were saying this. So 12 plants. Let me ask you this. So you can grow 12 plants. How many plants can be flowering at one time? That's a sort of a subsection of your law, or it may not even be that for all I know. But let me know how many you can be flowering at the same time, because I can grow 12 plants. But just because I grow 12 plants doesn't mean I can be flowering any more than 3 at a time, which is why you will never see me grow any more than 3 plants at a time on my grow videos or anything, because it's just a waste of time for me to grow any more of that. But things need to be retooled. BG's back.
Yeah, I got this ratchet Wi-Fi, man. I got to figure this situation out. This is not going to work for me on Wednesdays. Y'all know I don't like that at all, but thanks for bearing with me as we get back to the conversation here. Sounds like y'all are talking about growing, which is
it was alley. Sarah was talking about how she can grow 12 plants, and that was really just sort of the extension of us saying, all right, look, we've had medical cannabis for a while. It's time to start making things more affordable and retooling and getting things a little bit smarter. So I think Washington State is the first step in a big direction. I think. Do you know anything about your cultivation laws out there? Do you know what you have rights as?
I think it's 3 plants, if I'm not mistaken, that you're allowed to grow if you have a medical cannabis card. So shout out to any of the veterans that are here. Like I said, if you're talking to the VA, make sure if you're not going to lose your VA benefits by talking to the VA, especially if you're in a legal state. If you're in a non-legal state, you might want to think about that first. Like I said, if you're in a non-legal state, just use your brain on that one. But I think there's 38 total legal states. But yeah, I think you get 3 plants up here, Washington State, which is I've got this link here that I've shared with you on the Department of Health Medical Cannabis Frequently Asked Questions for Patients.
Okay. I was going to say, so you guys are recreational. Do you know how many you can, is that the law for everybody?
No, it's just
21 and over?
Washington state law.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
no,
I
that's
think
what I mean,
I
though.
think
But medical and recreational,
what about it?
they're usually recreational is a little bit less than medical patients able to grow. So basically, anybody over 21 in a recreational state, you can usually grow 2 or 3 plants. But if you have a medical card, you can grow twice that
Oh,
normally.
I'm learning something new here too. I thought you had to have a medical card in order to grow. I didn't know as a recreational user you could actually grow. So I'm learning something here new today too. I didn't know that. If that was the
Yeah,
case.
the state of Colorado as a recreational, as long as you live in Colorado as a resident and are 21 and older, you can grow. I believe it's 6 plants, with 3 of them flowering at any given time. If you are not a resident, or if you are a medical patient and choose not to use recreational as your tag, then you can grow up to 12, but still only have 3 flowering at a time, which is, again,
Oh, yeah.
that needs to be evolving. There's no reason for me to grow 12 plants if I can only bud 3 of them. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But that's a good evolution of pricing, a good evolution of the market. That's a smart thing. That to me, that's a moving forward in some way for Washington State, which I'm a big fan of, man. Cheaper cannabis when there's such good cannabis out there, I'm on board with that.
Yeah, and so if you're a veteran that is in the cannabis space, or maybe you're already in the cannabis space as a content creator, this is something to pay attention to. Now we're at 38 states that have been legalized. I mean, should this election year push it through for it totally be legalized, it'll be a wide open industry for you guys. See both Bob and I talking about Cowboys content and doing things here. Cannabis is no different. It is a form of content, and folks are going to be looking for that content. And that's why we wanted to diversify our portfolio here at least once a week as a couple of enthusiasts, especially with all 32 NFL fan bases, because it just applies.
Yeah, we got some people chiming in right now. Russell says 12, so you can grow 12. And yeah, I mean, look, I could probably grow 100 if I wanted to, man. But I'm on YouTube, so I can't really. You know what I mean? Like,
You have to think that one all the way through, right?
Right. Yeah. And I'm just like, and I was remembering, like, I could be pheno hunting, which means if you grow 50 plants, you could pick 3 of the best plants and you're good to go. You've got those 3. Whereas I can't do that. I let my seeds grow, and however they grow, they grow. I don't have the choice. But someone who can grow 99 plants, that's a massive plant count. And then, but the problem with that is that you also wind up oversaturating your area and your state with cannabis that probably can't be sold right away. So you've got to push it on the black market. You've got to give it away. You've got to turn it into edibles. There's a lot of negatives that can come with everybody in a state having a high plant count. But again, whatever, change the laws, tweak it out. We've been doing this for a long time, man. We've been doing square groupers for at least 3 or 4 years. So these laws have been in effect for way before that. So to see this change happen, and it makes me hopeful for the future.
Yeah, if you could do me a favor, throw that Medium link up there right quick, Bob, and talking to all of the content creators here, especially if you're an NFL content creator of other the 32 NFL fan bases, and you're in a legal state, and you're a veteran. I mean, this is a double whammy. I can't wait for veterans to get in the game, and if it'll be like this game of strains, like who has the hottest strains. As you can see, if you don't follow me on Medium, make sure you do, because I have incorporated my cannabis annual content strategy right here. It says why content creators need a medical cannabis content strategy. And as you can see here in the pandemic, as it kicked off a few months in June of 2020, I traveled out to, at the time, the largest dispensary in the world, Craig, at Planet 13. Yeah, Planet 13 is actually going to be open up a cannabis lounge similar to Sky High Lounge in Las Vegas that I went to during the Super Bowl. So 420 here next month, Planet 13 is going to be opening up their cannabis lounge. And so if you're headed to Vegas and you're a cannabis content creator, or you're there in Vegas, this is a great opportunity for you to grab some content and get in on what's going down. But here, if you scroll down, you see that medical prescription there in that photo. This is where ultimately I would like to see veterans like myself be able to go and to talk to our mental health providers and tell them, what we're dealing with, and being able to use an alternative like cannabis, medical cannabis, instead of the opioids. Because like we said, there is an opioid epidemic going on currently in this country. We know the legal laws have not caught up with it yet, but at 38 states and counting, I just want to know if anybody in Texas is watching. Could y'all please hurry up and pass it? Because y'all know my rule of thumb is when Texas passes, the rest of the country will pass. But shout out to the veterans, baby. Make sure you get into the content game. Make sure you follow me on Medium, and definitely tune in with us here every Wednesday, because we're going to be talking to you, especially me on my side, the veterans, and Bob, of course, as we talk about the cultivation side on hashtag Keep Growing. That's how we're going to grow here as content creators. That's how we've diversified our portfolio. And that's how we're just truly built different here, if you follow what I'm saying.
I'll tell you this much: it's vicious. It's a vicious cycle. We've got being involved in the military of any kind is being on a federal level. Therefore, most of the treatment, if there is any, by the way, most of the treatment given to veterans after they come out of service is all directly related to big pharma, because it's the funding and all of these things. The problem is it's until cannabis is being viewed as an actual medicine instead of an alternative medicine, we're going to have that massive divide between big pharma and cannabis and the hippie culture and all this shit we've been trying to shed for so long. The hippie culture is all but dead, by the way. So for anybody to be comparing stoners to hippies now is just kind of stupid. It's an old thing. But I really honestly,
turn on their notifications on their operating, their iOS or their Android, baby.
It's tough, man. It's tough because you come out of service. Even right now at this moment, they are still prescribing OxyContin. They're still prescribing all the horrible things we've been hearing about. So to think that we're making a huge dent in big pharma is laughable. The only way we can do that is by pushing people towards cannabis and having veterans be able to access that on a regular basis. So, again, I'm all for that. I don't really know anybody who wouldn't be all for that.
Yeah, it's still a long way coming. We got to get first legally. We got to first get legal across all 50 states. That's got to take place. But this could be the year. And like we said, we were here 3.5, 4 years ago, Bob, talking about going into this last election. Could this be the year? Now, the best thing about this is, on all sides of the coin, is get your boat in the water now here with us on Square Groupers. Like, if you're a content creator, you can DM us. We'd like to feature you here on the show, especially if you're a veteran. So DM us. We want to have some guests here to join us this season on Square Groupers as we continue to grow. Bob has already got the videos. Y'all seen the video intro coming in. Bob is wheeling and dealing back there. He's upped his content elevation game with BDG. So I'm excited because, at some point we're going to be able to go into the VA and get this prescription, just like we get a regular, I can order my pills right off a line and have them shipped to my door. It sure would be a nice thing that they have my strain, and I talk to my doctor and I put that on a prescription, and I can just hit the click of a button and have that shit mailed to my door. Feel me?
Yeah. We've already got that pretty much. The extension's already been made. I go through Dutchy. I don't know anybody who's not, if you're not versed with Dutchy, it's one of those cannabis dispensary integrated web things where you can go and order beforehand. And if you can do that and order beforehand, and I can go to Good Chemistry and pick it up like I do all the time, then at some point the extension of that is going to be have someone bring that to you. And now Colorado does have delivery in effect. A lot of states,
Uber weed,
there's not a lot of states that, there's a few that, maybe there's a couple states that do it. The problem is it's just not attractive to people. It's not caught on out here, man, at all. People still want the experience of going to a dispensary and getting their cannabis, which I am actually massively surprised by, dude. I have to say that. And I'm not dumping on the younger generation. I just assumed that they weren't really as infatuated with the plant and the end game as I am, and they are, because if they weren't, then we wouldn't be seeing that happen. But
yeah, I remember going back to it the first time your first time you go into a dispensary, at least I remember my first time. I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know the language. I didn't know, I'm in there basically shooting in the dark. So if you're planning to go to a dispensary for the first time, ask us the questions here. We'd like to be able to help you. Bob is a cultivator. He knows all of the strains. He collects seeds. He's a seedsman type of guy, all of that stuff. And addressing the veterans here like we are today, we want to make sure all sides of the coin are covered when it comes to medical cannabis. But yeah,
I just put my YouTube link in the comment section here, Nicole, because you were asking. Thank you very much. Matter of fact, I just hit my 1,000th subscriber last week or the week before, which is that was a big deal, man. I was pretty happy about that, because
make sure y'all go subscribe to Bob's channel, man. Come on, let's get his numbers up, baby. This is good information we're putting out here.
Yeah, that'd be great. I've got a lot of my most recent pre-98 Bubba Kush grow videos are up there. my most recent strain spotlights are up there, which I have, I think, 71 or 72 of those right now, which is kind of insane. But yes, I appreciate all the support. Thank you so much. It's all about the cannabis community out there.
Can you pull up your YouTube channel and show everybody here an extension, Bob? Let everybody see the face of it so they know exactly where you're at and where to subscribe.
With the magic of modern day electronics, my friend, it looks like I can.
Yeah, StreamYard came a long way. Shout out to StreamYard, baby. We've been rocking for StreamYard damn near as long as we've been rocking Square Groupers, I think, right?
That's the truth. Yeah, StreamYard's there. They saved my butt. I didn't want to have to go learn how to be a programmer and all the other stuff that you've got to do. OBS, baby.
I don't want to do that nightmare.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. I mean, shout out to OBS if I'm being honest, but yeah, I just didn't. Oh man, it reminds me of MySpace where I had to put coding in there. But anyway, as you can see right here, here's what we've got going on right now. Tax-free cannabis. But when you go to my page, you not only are going to get cannabis content, you're going to get, Cypress Hill. You're going to get concerts that I've been to. You're going to get the strain spotlights that I do. There's a lot of different stuff going on here, but I've got so much information about cannabis that it might actually blow your mind. When I looked up and saw that I had almost 400 videos up there, I didn't really believe it. But again, I don't push this channel very hard, even though it is my home base. So I would love everybody who's on right now who has not subscribed to go over there and do that. That'd be awesome.
And if you watch it after the fact, use hashtag replay, hashtag subscribe. I want to know. Make sure y'all go over there and connect with my guy on YouTube. A wealth of information. He has been a mentor to me over the last 3 to 4 years. I mean, if you're in a legal state, now think about this. Now, you know what I mean? Say you may get caught up and catch a case.
Mm-hmm.
Might be in a system in a legal state like Washington. Guess what? Well, if you have a medical card, if you're on probation, good chance that the judge signs off on it and you use it in terms of medicinal purposes, you'll continue while you're on probation. So, I mean, there are some added benefits to the whole thing, and I hate to use it in that context, but just to shine a light on it, I mean, it has to be honored. It is recognized with the Department of Health. I've got that link up there, Bob, if you can push that up to everybody, the Washington Department State of Health link there. It's got all of the frequently asked questions. I'll place that in the comments while you pull that up for everybody. But if you're a Washington State and you're a veteran, make sure you click on that link. Here is the first place you need to go, because Bob was essentially this link for me when I began, and he began to show me more about the benefits of having a medical card. But for me, it was just saving. I didn't have any plan to grow, which you get that opportunity as a card holder. For me, it was just to save the money, as we kicked off the show here today, talking about Washington State removing the 37% excise tax on medical cannabis. But here is the official link. It's in the comments right now. You can check it. All of the frequently asked questions. But if there's something that they can't answer, make sure you DM us here. Follow Bob on YouTube. Make sure and DM us here. We both check the messages and we'll answer accordingly. But there's your link. And how many plants can you grow? Looks like Bob has got that pulled up there.
Yeah, it's just like I wanted to get this now, and I'm glad that we've got this clarified, because again, just because Colorado has a medical program and a cannabis program of any kind recreationally does not mean the laws that we've passed in any way will be reflected on any other state. And this is crazy to read right now. Personal cannabis home grows are currently prohibited under Washington state law without a medical cannabis authorization. So you guys are recreational, right?
Yeah, no, if you're, like I said, I thought only medical card holders could grow. You know,
yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy to
talking
know.
About consumers could grow. I was like, well, that's news to me. I didn't know. But yeah, I'm glad we looked that up, especially for our veterans here. It's another reason to incentivize you to get your card very quickly. Shout out to Holistic Solutions here in Kent, Washington. Holistic Solutions, all you got to do is call. I did it over the phone during COVID, baby. You don't have to go see a doctor or anything. Print off your VBA or your veterans benefits from a VA benefits website. Print off your sheet or your, whatever conditions you have or any medication that you're on. You can submit it. You'll pay a nominal fee every month. I think it's $125 per year to renew, to initially get it. And that, covers the cost. That registers you with the Department of Health after you speak to a doctor online, and they get you in the program. And they'll tell you a little bit about the differences of, all of the varieties in the industry that you can use as an alternative for pain medication.
It's very interesting here that it says
John Taylor's tapping in right there. He says, I'm a Washington State veteran and a medical consultant at a dispensary. Very nice. Appreciate you tapping in here with us today. Would love to hear if you could add any context with us.
Yeah,
This would be like some of the type of people we'd want to feature here on our shows on Wednesdays.
On the nose, man. You are exactly the kind of person we need to be talking to. So it says here, a qualifying patient with an authorization may grow up to 4 plants within their domicile, but a qualifying patient who is registered in the medical cannabis authorization database and has a recognition card can grow up to 15 plants, depending on your health practitioner's recommendation. So the thing is really at this point, your doctor is going to be the one that can tell you whether you can do that. No more than 15 plants may be grown or located in any one housing unit, even if multiple qualifying patients. All right, well, it doesn't say anything there about whether how many can be flowering too, which is actually, wow, that's blowing my mind right now that you can grow 15 plants right now and 15 of them can be flowering. That's pretty nuts, man. Congratulations. I can only do 3.
We got John Taylor tapping in more context here. He says the 4 plants is unregistered. Thank you, John, for tapping in here today. Appreciate you sharing some context with us here on Square Groupers. And what branch? Navy right here, baby. What branch you serving? I know you said you're a veteran. Appreciate you tapping in here today. And are you a Cowboy fan too? Let's make it a triple whammy.
That's pretty awesome, man. This is good. This is cool that we got some folks on here that are actually deep in the business. I actually just talked to one of the bud tenders and let somebody know at Good Chemistry that we had Amanda Hayes on our show. We need to get Amanda back. We need to get some people in the industry. If I'm being honest, that's exactly what we have this show for. There's no reason for not only us to be talking. Let's get some folks out there with credentials. And until I'm badged out here as a cannabis employee, I'm just a guy who's got a lifetime of experience, but having some people who actually have credentials would be pretty big. So, Mr. Taylor, anytime you want to hop on, let us know. 6:15 after registration, and he's in the Army. All right.
That's what I'm talking about, John. We're going to have to link up, baby. Appreciate you tapping in here today, man. Adding some context. Hashtag keep growing. That's what it's all about.
The registration, I'm guessing these are just levels of payment, right? So you could probably go on unregistered and pay this amount maybe. And then maybe to get registered, it'll cost you a little bit more money. Is that correct, John? That'd be good to know, because that's normally how it goes. What they're doing is giving doctors incentive to jump onto the program and benefit everybody with their professionality and their knowledge. So if you give doctors the ability to get a little bit more charge going on, then they're like, yes, I will definitely tell everybody they can.
This is a whole nother hustle, especially for folks in the medical field and or in the mental health space. So if you're like a registered nurse or a doctor or somebody that's in the medical industry, I mean, this whole hustle of authorizing, and talking to patients and building a book of consulting with patients to come in and get these medical cards. I mean, that's a great side hustle too, as well.
It is a great side hustle. And I for so long trying to get my family and friends in Florida to jump on this medical cannabis bandwagon, and they're just not doing it. I fear, honestly, if and when Texas goes legal, it's going to be the same thing out there, unless it's a recreational thing where everybody can grow and there's just so much black market cannabis out in Texas, just like there is in Florida.
It's kind of the linchpin of this country, man. They kind of hold it with the big state out there, and then especially bordering, Mexico down there. We know a lot of stuff travels across the border, south of the border down there in Texas. But there's been some news out there. They're trying to make moves toward the medical side. Like we said, there's 38 states, I believe, currently that are on the medical side. Texas not being one of them, but one of the most important. And I believe once they legalize, the rest of the country will. But we don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, we're in another election year, and we'll be tapping in to talk about that. Not so much to get on either side of the coin when it comes to legalization or not, but more so bringing you the information about what's being discussed. Especially because we know veterans and cannabis have been weaponized during some political, campaigns. Veterans.
Listen, man,
we're going to bolster the VA. Vote for me. I've got veterans' backs. Those types are going to come out. Hey, vote for us. We're going to legalize cannabis. I mean, we've seen a lot of that 3.5 years ago.
I feel a little punked, man, if I'm being honest, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I've got specific views about both sides, if I'm being honest, that I'm not going to voice. But what I mean by that is I bought into this new presidency and vice presidency talking so much about cannabis, I was like, look, if they're talking so much about cannabis, they're going to at least get that much done. And we can't discount what they've already done. Our current president actually put a lot of bad laws a long time ago into effect that affected a very large group of our American population. And he's doing something, or he did something at one point to eliminate that by getting anybody who is in prison for federal cannabis laws taken out of prison. You know, if you're in there for killing somebody and had weed on you, you're probably going to stay in there. But there's been a lot of that was going good. But I don't see anything else going on, anything legal, meaning having more states pop up as recreational. I don't see that happening, man. So I feel a little punked on that. But then again, man, my point is this is not the first time, nor will it be the last time that a politician promises you something and doesn't come through. So that's sort of the reason why I didn't jump on that bandwagon ever. But this time around, I did. And I'm a little bummed, man, because they haven't done shit.
Yeah. Shout out to all my veterans, especially if you're on LinkedIn. I would encourage you to link up with me on LinkedIn. Bob, I think I shared an article with you from LinkedIn over there. If you have it, if you could pull that up, please. I have a newsletter, have a weekly newsletter on there. And this is kind of off topic, but as we're talking about laws and we talk about social media, we're talking about content creators, you got to be careful what's going on, because just today there was a law passed that potentially could make it all the way through banning TikTok in this country. Now, a reason I share this with y'all is for two reasons. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Every week I share my thoughts on LinkedIn when it comes to social media and creators. Now, y'all know I'm always with them Cowboys, and I'm talking about the Cowboys. And normally I'm talking about the Cowboys on Medium, but on LinkedIn, I like to cover all of the news happenings related to social media. And if you've not been tapped in and or you're on TikTok, especially as a creator, you might need a plan B, because should they ban TikTok, which was a law passed in 2020 that President Biden actually passed, where they didn't allow TikTok to be downloaded on any government phones. Now, the reason being is, if you know anything about TikTok, that company is owned by some folks in another country that America don't like to really play with too much. But the link is in the comments. I'll place it there. Make sure if you're on LinkedIn, you can get up with me. But if you're on TikTok and you're an influencer, especially around NFL, like, you got to be smart, because if they shut down TikTok altogether in the USA, you might need to look at another social media platform for your content.
Listen, we know damn well that there is some amazing geeks waiting in the wings right now with the exact same application that they could not possibly put out because there's no way to compete with TikTok. It's just too big. But there's somebody who's got 98% of pickpock already created. And as soon as this goes bad, these dudes are going to drop pickpock. And all of a sudden it's going to be like they didn't even miss a beat, because that's how our country is right now. That's how we're dying for that content. So there's going to be a small window where reels on Facebook and reels on YouTube are flying because there's no more TikTok. But then eventually that pickpock or whoever the hell makes a new TikTok is going to come out with it, and everyone's going to be satiated again, because that's what we want. That's all we care about right now. We're putting our intelligence and our focus into way too many stupid things as a country.
Yeah, when I published my ebook on Amazon in 2019 called Bulletproof, centered around veterans and committing suicide, you know what I mean? I did the research at that particular time, and then they passed that law on TikTok. And I knew once they started banning it on government phones, that was not a good thing. And if you ever wondered why BG's not on TikTok, well, for two reasons. What we're talking about squarely here, and for two, bloggers don't dance, baby. We boogie, if you know what I mean. So you won't catch BG up on no TikTok doing no dances, especially when it comes to them boys, because quite frankly, you got to have vision when you're dealing with social media. And so I share that with y'all. So if you're a veteran that's on LinkedIn, most veterans prior to getting out of service connect on LinkedIn. They're looking for jobs, post-military, leaving the ranks. Get with me, baby. I'll be happy to help you get your profile up to speed. I've been on LinkedIn since 2010. Make sure you come over there, join my newsletter. The link is in the comments as we talk about social media creators here today.
Richard Calderon says, I am getting charges expunged for all marijuana charges. That, you know, and at this point in time, there's still states that you go to, and if they see that charge, they're going to be like, well, I don't know if we can hire you, Mr. Calderon. Looks like you've been gaffled before, and we don't want to deal with that. You know, like we're moving in a direction where that's probably not the mindset for a lot of people, but there's still that mindset out there, and getting the expungement done is just a smart thing, because that way it's like it's on paper it never happened. It's something you might have learned from, I'm sure, but to not be discriminated in 2024 because of marijuana convictions or whatever, or cannabis
right?
convictions.
We're sitting up here, we're talking about it, rolling it up, talking about growing, but there's actually, 12, 13 other states out there that has not legalized yet. So we don't do that as a form of trying to stunt on folks that can't get to it, but we want to educate you, because if you're really in one of these states that haven't legalized yet, I mean, you really have a golden opportunity here, especially as content creators or just getting into the cannabis space, because once this industry fully legalizes, just like they have influencers for all major cosmetic brands, all these other brands that you see, especially on YouTube, you're going to have canna influencers. There's already canna influencers out there. You're looking at 2 of them right here today.
It's kind of ridiculous, man. Oh, loving it though. It's getting bigger, man. And again, this is kind of the reason why we did this, right? We knew that getting kind of sliding in under the rug and keeping it exclusive for the kind of the group of people that we mess with, which, by the way, I want to give a shout out to Built Different Group. They've made up 98% of our viewership tonight. Shout out to all you folks for not only coming and clicking, but hanging out with us. It makes us feel better that what we're talking about right now is not just some BS. We do a lot of this cannabis stuff, but it's not about like getting stoned and smoking through an apple,
like,
bro.
Let's get high, man. Fuck cowboy, man, bro. That, man, you know what you're smoking on, Bob? Like, that shit is that goofy behavior when it comes to cannabis. We don't exhibit goofy behavior. I know exactly what you're talking about, Bob.
Yeah, you can have it going on in the background because that's the cannabis lifestyle, and I'm down with that. But that's not the forefront here. We're definitely bringing intelligence. We want to bring intelligence. We want to bring brightness to this. We want to have everybody say to themselves, shit, I don't think I knew that, dude. Maybe I should do this. And, cannabis is everywhere right now. Let's not kid ourselves, man. It's not like people in states that aren't legal aren't getting cannabis. It's happening. It's been since the beginning of time.
People getting cannabis, and if they ain't getting it from south of the border, they're going north of the border across the Red River, baby, there to the World Star Casino, and they got a dispensary out there where they load up and they take it back across the border.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of the thing, man. And I don't want to. I'm definitely not gonna talk about that or dump on that, but that's just the way it is, man. Listen, there's folks who need to get the cannabis, dude, and it's dumb that we have to fight the laws to begin with. So look, we're gonna find out how to get around things because we are cannabis users, because cannabis people are intelligent. They are not the fake people that Cheech and Chong created back in the 60s. They are not the stereotype of the idiots. They are running your companies. They are teaching your children. They are doing surgery on you. Cannabis is something that is part of life, and you can live a responsible life while enjoying it. And you don't even have to
be a veteran. Shout out to, I said veterans are dying from the opioid epidemic or whatnot. That is non-veterans included too. As we've seen, Sarah commented here. She says it changed her life. 20 pills a day gone. Look, man, if you've taken any kind of pills, or my veterans out there have taken pills, there's some disorders that come along with that, like eating disorders, sleeping disorders, you name it, disorders. But
gastrointestinal issues, yes.
Yeah. Congratulations to Sarah. I know Sarah wasn't walking a few years ago. She's actually lost, I believe, 70 plus pounds in the last year. She's been on her holistic journey, and cannabis has been a great part of that. And I'm looking forward to seeing you out there in Detroit next month on your birthday weekend, Prototype. Appreciate you tapping in.
Proto's a effing inspiration, dude. We've had some ladies come and go that that have kind of taken leads in some things, but we've got a few ladies here that have been spearheading this for a few years now, and it's always amazing to see.
Yep. Well, good deal, man. I think we covered a lot of content here today, Bob. Episode 2 back in the books, baby. Taxation without representation today.
Look at John Taylor chiming in saying he was able to stop 7 different medications for your disabilities by using only cannabis. Then why would it be illegal, you might say to yourself?
It's just the laws, man. It's just the way the laws are written, and we know.
Is it working? I'm trying to do the magic cannabis dust and get him back online. I don't think it's working. I'm not as powerful as I once was. Oh shit. But regardless, again, what we're saying is, if you're interested in cannabis and all things cannabis, every Wednesday we are going to be doing this. It'll be 9 o'clock Eastern, I think, right? Yes, because 7 o'clock out here in the mountains in cannabis. And we are so happy that all you folks have come out. Matter of fact, we got more people jumping on right now. I almost feel like maybe we shouldn't leave. Corey, what's going on? Yeah. Who else do we got here? It's about the government's cut. Now, you can almost apply that line in everything currently about what's going on in our world, at least in our country. Oh, look at these. We got more people just coming in.
Oh, yeah.
True CBD here tells all you can get. All right, look. So I'm glad that you brought that up because that particular delta, which I believe is 9, right? I always get that confused. The not normal cannabis delta is what is almost accessible everywhere else that's not legal cannabis. And from what I hear from my friends in West Texas, Central Texas, that actually does some good things. So the people are getting head changes. They're getting a medical benefit from that. So that's pretty awesome. But at the same time, there's also I would find it hard to trust a lot of those grows too. It's really tough. It's tough to trust these CBD grows because they're just so big. But I'm also spoiled where I can actually get amazing testing and stuff like that done. Simon, what is going on? Holy shit. Simon is a homeboy from my youth, man. It's good to see you pop in, man. I haven't seen you in a long time, dude. Hope everything's going well with you and your family. I think, didn't you just say you switched careers or switched companies within your career? Congratulations on that. Be very careful with CBD online products. Yes, I go specifically. I'm going to put this up here too, by the way, as you said this, because I'm going to let you guys know. I'm sorry that I can't type and talk at the same time. I just felt really old right there. So listen, as to jump on top of what John Taylor just said, be very careful with CBD online products. I encourage you to, yes, be very careful. But if you are going to buy them, go to bluebirdbotanicals.com. And I am not sponsored by these people at all, but they make it out here in Colorado. It's from Colorado and made in Colorado. I trust it. I've been dealing with them for at least 5 years. I get my CBD only from them. So if you're wondering where you can get them from, go there. I guarantee you're going to like it. But you're right. Be very careful with online. We're being exploited like everybody else in the country is right now with cannabis, and people who can't get it are being exploited because these online people are taking advantage of you in some way, shape, or form. So,
wealth of knowledge over there, fountain of wisdom.
They are not tested for THC. I was just saying that, John. Thank you so much. So thank you. We've got a professional in the business who is letting you know what I just said, which was me guessing that there's no way they're not testing. They're putting it out. Since it's legal, there's no reason for them to do that in there. Throw the testing in there. But Sarah says she has 2 people not recognize her.
That's a good thing, man. That's a good thing. Sarah
Beautiful.
literally raising the bar here in the gym with us. So appreciate that. Congratulations, Sarah.
Square groupers, Lala. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we got a lot of people chiming in right now. It's like we were kind of cutting this right now, and then I noticed we grew by about 10 viewers. I'm like, well, let's say hello. Got my niece on CBD for epilepsy. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's a good thing.
Me and Park Ranger had some very in-link talks there in Vegas during the Super Bowl while we was at Sky High Lounge in Las Vegas. He shared a lot with me there, so appreciate you tapping in with your contacts here today too, Park Ranger.
Yeah, the Delta 8 or 9 THC only. Yeah, again, there's some people in the world that are purists. I definitely fall into that category. If there's no reason for me to want to kind of seek anything else out anyway. I've been smoking regular THC cannabis my whole life. So, but if you can't get it, then I mean, look, the reason for these laws is so you don't have to go to jail because you are either under the influence walking around or they kick your door in and you got a plant somewhere. Like these are things that we want to make sure that we are not flooding our prison systems with, which by the way is already overflowing to the point where people are getting released. And that's pretty terrifying. So there's a lot of laws. There's a lot of evolution that has to happen within this industry. And I think we're at the top of this show. That 37% tax being dropped is massive. I mean, congratulations. I would, applause to your state because that's so big.
Yep. So go spread the news, Washingtonians. The law's been passed. We'll see it soon reflected. 37% excise tax removed. That's a good sign for veterans because veterans on a fixed income having to pay for an alternative of medication. That is a travesty within itself, baby.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Once a state goes either medically legal and then hopefully recreational legal, you'll start seeing some states. I know Colorado does it. A lot of places just don't drug test you anymore. And if they do, like was just pointed out by Richard, they are going to be only testing you for, they're probably putting in tests for methamphetamine, cocaine, pills, whatever the case may be, the big ones that are going to screw up you on the job and make them not liable during insurance cases. So the testing, not testing for cannabis is a big thing. I've got a lot of friends in Texas that are heavy cannabis users that simply have to stay within specific job lines because they can't go to other places because they're going to get tested. And like a friend of
Yeah.
mine pointed out, they might not put you in a database, but you probably won't be able to reapply at that company for 6 months if you do piss hot or come back with a hot test, because that's just the way it is. They don't want to keep putting you in the system and wasting resources on you if you keep urinating and having dirty urine. So hopefully those laws start dropping, man. I've been in food service all of my life as well as the cannabis industry, so I'm definitely not getting drug tested. But there are people who are affected by this, and with the laws evolving, hopefully it
Yeah,
comes
no,
to a point where
Washington is on top of it, man. Like I said, last couple of years, they're still testing, but you can still get a job even if you piss hot. I mean, you can get tested and work at places and get a gaming license and work at the casino. Even coming in the door and getting tested, and even though you may pop.
BG's frozen in space and time, man. We're folding continuums here, man. I don't know. I wish I could give him some of my bandwidth right now because how frustrating is it? Y'all that are gamers, you understand what I'm talking about. It's insane when you just don't have a strong connection. I went to a job fair at Texas Rangers Globe Life Field. They have a CBGD joint there with big pot leaf on the building, but they still test for. Yo, dude, listen. And I lived in Texas for 11 years, 10 or 11 years, so I can say this: there is definitely a massive double standard out there in Texas when it comes to cannabis. I lived in Austin for many years, and Austin is about close to Denver as you can get. And even in Austin, people were like, "Yeah, I smoke cannabis," but they didn't say that shit out loud too much, except like during Eeyore's birthday or some of these festivals. So, yeah, that's a terrifying thing, man. And it's also a bit of a bummer that's that double standard right there, where they're going to be like, "Well, we want you to we're going to put this pot leaf on here to grab your attention and make you buy this product, but we'll also put you in jail if you have the other kind of cannabis."
Yeah, BG got some ratchet Wi-Fi service. I appreciate y'all sticking with us here as I've been tapping in and out. Bob's been carrying us here.
We can do it. We can do it, man. Regardless, we're good to go, man. I think, like you said, man, I think we hit on the points we wanted to hit on. We definitely got the gallery out here has been doing great things, man. Thank you so much for everybody interacting
Yeah,
as creators, and especially on Square Groupers. You chiming in is really what this is all about anyway. Just talking to you really would not really make a lot of sense to us. Having you interact is really what we want you to do. So besides coming and commenting, we've got folks like John, was it John Taylor? Yeah, John Taylor.
yeah.
We need to get you on here. So if you are willing to get in front of a camera and have a conversation with us sometime in the future, let us know that. Get in touch with one of us, and we'll pull you on without
He don't even have to get on
hesitation.
camera. He can just not be on camera and still join us and talk too. So that's open too as well. But we appreciate you
Yeah.
tapping in. There we
You can just do this right here. Yeah, so we can do that. That's a good thing. Oh man, whew. Good episode,
Okay.
BG.
Huh?
I said good episode, man. We got to get out of here.
Yeah. No doubt I was chopping in and out there. So like I said, I know folks want to talk Cowboys, but once a week we got to drop anchor on Square Groupers. We got to talk about cannabis. We know all 32 NFL fan bases use cannabis. I mean, I told y'all last episode when I went into Sky High Lounge, the Cannabis Lounge in in Las Vegas, rather, the family that was there when me and Park Ranger walked in and they noticed, they say, "Oh, there's two Cowboy fans." And we're like, "Oh, it's pretty stat pro quo." But learning after the fact, that was actually Adam Schefter's family in there getting down with the green at the Sky High Las Vegas Cannabis Lounge.
Let me tell you, I haven't been to Vegas in a long time since a ceremony I had out there, and I don't like to gamble, but there's just something about that Planet 13 that's calling me, man. I think I just need to see it. As somebody who's been a cannabis user there, more than their years than most other people, it just seems like something I need to go check out, man. So
Bro,
it's a draw to me, man.
I'm gonna be in Bakersfield April 13th, man. I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna spend 420 in LA or I might just go back out to Vegas at Planet 13. Because like we said, 420 is gonna be the opening of the Cannabis Lounge in Planet 13. I mean, they're opening up a hotel, they got a dispensary in there. Where it is, they're gonna have a strip club in there, and now a cannabis lounge. I'm telling you, it'll be going down 420 Planet 13, baby.
Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming and hanging out. Thank you for the Built Different Group. BDG is always crushing it out there. Y'all come and hang out.
Shout out to the green badges, baby. Thanks for y'all for tapping in.
Big numbers, but also thank you to everybody cultivating with the Cannabis Cowboy on Facebook, cultivating with the Cannabis Cowboy on YouTube, as well as Bob the Cannabis Cowboy on Facebook. I thank all of you folks for all the support. Anybody who hasn't joined and subscribed on YouTube, please do it. It's basically, you can find me anywhere. Just look for the Cannabis Cowboy. You might find some other places, but this logo is what you need to see. And thank you so much for the support. BG, anything you want to drop before we get on out of here and get some dinner?
Nah, man, back to them boys tomorrow, baby. We'll be talking more about free agency, the signings, and all of the above. But y'all know on Wednesdays at 6 p.m., baby, on Hump Day.
That's the cue. Have a good night, folks.